The Iraqi military has declared victory in their battle to retake Fallujah. The city just west of Baghdad has been under ISIS control since January of 2014 and was a major stronghold for the terror group inside Iraq. The Iraqi military has been operating with the support of U.S. airstrikes and a local Shia militia that considers ISIS a mortal enemy. Joining me now is CBS News military analyst Mike Lyons. Mike, thanks for joining us. So the U.S., though, has yet to confirm this news coming out of Fallujah, but how confident are officials that this is in fact taken place?
Well, it's likely the conventional aspect of the war there has subsided. ISIS no longer has any way to attack directly, but now the counterinsurgency will take place inside Fallujah. Also, the recovery operations of getting in there and fixing the town back up. If you look at the pictures of the town, it's been virtually destroyed. 85,000 people have been displaced. There's a humanitarian crisis on the horizon if they don't do that. So it's one thing to take a town from the military's perspective, but it's another thing to hold it and then also to begin that long road to repair it.
And how involved will the U.S. be in that recovery?
I don't think we'll be involved at all other than ministerial support. We'll do what we can from a perspective of air support to keep ISIS from re-engaging, let's say, back into that town. But we're going to bring in Shia militia here, and I think that's going to create somewhat of a challenge inside a fundamentally Sunni-owned town. And the Anbar province is more or less that sect of Muslim religion is responsible for that. So we've got to be very careful of, again, atrocities that take place often when the Iraqi government takes these towns and then, again, fails to hold them.
Yeah, because the Shia militia, you were saying earlier, not exactly humanitarians.
Not the American Red Cross by no stretch. Where's this information? Where's the material coming from? Again, the key number, 85,000. Displaced that many civilians. You're coming on summertime in Iraq. The temperatures are going to be through the roof. They're going to put them in tents. You can't move them back into the city. The city's too dangerous. It's filled with IEDs and roadside bombs and the like. So there's a tremendous amount of work that now that let's say the military aspect is over, that the engineering recovery aspect has to do. Being
that vulnerable, though, with everything that's going on there, how big is the threat that ISIS could take over once again?
Well, when ISIS loses land, it's always a big deal. So from that perspective, the Iraqi government wins that. In this particular case, Fallujah being only about 70 kilometers from Baghdad served as the launch pad from where these insurgent attacks came from. So ISIS could decide that Fallujah is important or its surrounding area is important, doesn't want to give that up, and could come back and fight. They won't fight conventionally. They'll bring back, again, terrorist organizations, terrorist operations. There'll be quick strikes. They'll have the city living in fear, let's say. But again, when they lose land, it still means that they've had a loss, it's suffered a loss, and it causes them to rethink what they're doing.
So it's a big blow for the terror group.
Oh, it is, and if the Iraqi government, more or less, if they can hold it, that's going to be more important. But go back to a military perspective. There was only about 2,000 ISIS fighters in this town to begin with. This fight's taken over 35 days. They brought north of 20,000 soldiers to it. This should have been no match. They should have cleaned this up within 3 or 4 or 5 days. So the Iraqi government still hasn't shown a real competency when it comes to the military, and ISIS continues to have the upper hand, and again, places where they can have this kind of agility.
And as far as military support goes, do you see it remaining pretty much the same, or do you see declarations that we send even more military personnel?
No change in U.S. strategy here, Christina. It's very limited. It's tactical. It's just the air power that we provide. Perhaps it'll provide, let's say, a cordon around the city should they see ISIS invaders coming, because it's a wide open area. They can't hide anymore if they decide to launch some kind of attack. But it's going to require drone operations. It'll require us to continue an air support. We've become the Iraqi Air Force. One thing the president didn't want to have happen, but from an unintended consequences perspective, that's the case. So I think that's the only thing we'll see. The next thing is Mosul. I think the Iraqi government's trying to use this fight as a way to have gained the confidence to go fight in a city of more than 1 million inhabitants, which from ISIS's perspective is their Alamo, is the last stand inside of Iraq.
All right, well, watch out for Mosul then. Mike Lyons, thank you very much.
Thanks.